Number 5, the coastal plains and the islands. The coastal plains. A coast is the land beside or near the sea or the ocean. India has a beautiful coastline that stretches all around the Indian peninsula. As you can see in the picture of the map, India is surrounded by the water body, that is the Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal. You can see the boundary water area covered in the coastline. The length of the Indian coastline is about 7,000 kilometers. On the west, we have the western coastal plains. And on the east, we have the eastern coastal plains. If you can see into your textbook page number 33, you will see the eastern coastal plain and the western coastal plain. The average width of the western coastal plains is 65 kilometers and that of the eastern coastal plains is 120 kilometers. Such a wide range, of the Indian coastline. Looking at the map also you can see it has a 7,000 kilometer long coastline India is having. Now, on the east we have eastern coastal plains, on the west we have the western coastal plain. Moving ahead with the western coastal plains. The western coastal plains lie between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. Keep your page 33 open so that you can follow better. Looking at the map in Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats, Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. These western coastal plains are lying. They begin in Gujarat and go southwards through the western parts of Maharashtra. You can see in the map starting from Gujarat and coming towards south into the parts of Maharashtra, moving ahead, that is Goa, Karnataka and Kerala. They end in Kanyakumari in the south. So the western coastal plains begin from Gujarat, moving down southwards and passing through Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka and Kerala. And in the end they go to the south ending at Kanyakumari. These plains are broader in Gujarat. In Gujarat it has a broader area, but it becomes narrower in the South India. Now, these western coastal plains are divided into 3 main parts. First is the Gujarat coast. Second one is the Konkan coast. And in the south lies the Malabar coast. Now, in the map you can see the area, that is wider area is covered in Gujarat coast. It is wider and then moving down towards the south it is getting narrower. So the Gujarat coast is broadest between the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Khambat. Looking at the map, observe carefully the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Khambat. Now what is a gulf? A gulf is an inlet of the sea that has a large area of water partly surrounded by land. In our Gujarat we have Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Khambat. Just above Arabian Sea on the map Looking at page 33, just above Arabian Sea, you can see Gulf of Khambat, and in the little run of Kutch, besides that you can see the Gulf of Kutch. So these are nothing but inlet of the sea that is a large area of water partly surrounded by land. They are called Gulf. South of the Gujarat coast is the Konkan coast. Okay, as we discussed, there are three main parts of the western coastal plains. The topmost is the Gujarat coast. Now, south of the Gujarat coast lies the Konkan coast, which extends up to Goa. You all must have heard the name, or many must have visited also Goa. Okay, it is touching the Maharashtra border. Okay, so when Gujarat coast, just below Gujarat coast, we have Konkan coast, which is extending up to Goa. The coastline here is narrow, rocky and uneven. The coastline is narrow. We discussed it is getting narrower when it moves towards the south. It is rocky and uneven. It is not smooth. It is not flat. It is rocky and uneven. The coastline is narrow, rocky and uneven. Where it is not narrow, rocky and uneven? In the Konkan coast. Because it is narrow, rocky and uneven, that is why lighthouses along the coast, I repeat, lighthouses along the coast warn ships about the rocks that just lie beneath the surface of the sea. When ships happen to pass by, there are lighthouses which are warning the ships about what? About the rocks that lie beneath the surface of the sea, so that it can prevent going towards that area which is rocky and uneven. Many harbors located here have become big cities and ports today. Ports are important for trade, as ships load and unload their goods here. Now, you must be thinking, what is a port? A port is a town or a city by the sea where ships arrive and live. If you want to look into the word meaning, it is given on page 37 of your textbook. We shall read the word meaning of lighthouse also. There are lighthouses in the Konkan coast, okay, to warn the ships about the rocks that lie beneath the sea. So what is a port? Port is a town or a city by the sea where ships arrive and live. Now what are lighthouses? Lighthouse is a tall building by or in the sea with a strong light to warn ships that are there, rocks just beneath the surface of the sea. Now strong light, why strong light? So that it can be seen from very far off and people can become alert not to go that side. Okay, it is dangerous. So this rock which is lying beneath the sea, for that lighthouses have been built. Ports are important for trade, as ships load and unload their goods here. Now goods coming from foreign countries in ships are loaded and unloaded at the ports. Port is a town or a city. I repeat, port is a town or a city by the sea where ships arrive and live. Mumbai is one of the largest ports in India. I repeat, Mumbai is one of the largest ports in India. The Konkan coast is rich in petroleum and many oil wells are found here. I repeat, Mumbai is one of the largest ports in India. Now, Konkan coast is rich in petroleum and many oil wells are found here. The Malabar coast, lying to the south of the Konkan coast. I repeat, Malabar coast, which lies to the south of the Konkan coast. A large number of lagoons are found here, especially in Kerala. In the Malabar coast, we find lagoons. Now you must be thinking, what is a lagoon? Lagoon is a lake of salt water. I repeat, it's a lake of salt water because it is in sea, so it has to be salty. Separated from the sea by an area of rock or sand. I repeat, lagoon. A lake of salt water separated from the sea by an area of a rock or sand. Lagoons are shallow saltwater lakes separated from the sea by an area of rock or sand. They are a major tourist attraction. Kochi is one of the most important port of the Malabar coast. Now you can see these houseboats on the shallow waters of Kerala. People go to spend their holidays in Kerala. See, this is a picture of a houseboat given in your textbook page number 34, which you can see very clearly. Kochi is most important port of the Malabar coast. And the largest port of India is the Mumbai. Okay, we discussed just before. And these western coastal plains are divided into how many parts? It is divided into 3 parts. Gujarat coast, Konkan coast and Malabar coast. The climate in the western coastal plains is very hot and humid throughout the year. I repeat, the climate in the western coastal plains is very hot and humid throughout the year. The region receives very heavy rainfall during the summer monsoon. Okay, it is receiving very heavy rainfall. In South India, there are 2 monsoon seasons. That is why it is very, water is in full fledged. Since there is a very heavy rainfall during summer monsoon, let us look at the crops that are grown there. Coconut, rice, cashew nut, groundnut, sugarcane and tobacco are grown here. I repeat, coconut. We all know in South India so many coconut trees. Every house has a coconut tree. Every house. Coconut, rice, cashew nut, groundnut, sugarcane and tobacco are grown here. People also catch fish for a living. Catch fish for a living means they catch the fish, sell it and earn money for the living. These coastal plains have some of the best beaches in the country. So many beaches are there, Best beaches in the country. Kandla, Ahmedabad, Panji, Marmgoa, Mumbai, Mangalore, Kochi, Kozhikode and Thiruvananthapuram are some important towns and cities along this coast. I repeat, Kandla, Ahmedabad, Panji, Marmgoa, Mumbai, Bangalore, Kochi, Kozhikode and Thiruvananthapuram are some important towns and cities along this coast. Now, we move further with the eastern coastal plains. We discussed about the western coastal plains lying. Where does the western coastal plain lie? It lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. I repeat, western coastal plains lie between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. Okay, they are divided into three parts: Gujarat coast, Konkan coast, and Malabar coast. Gujarat on its top. At the south of Gujarat lies the Konkan coast. At the south of Konkan lies the Malabar coast. In Konkan coast we find lighthouses, okay, which are warning the ships about the rocks that lie beneath the surface of the sea. In Malabar coast we find lagoons. Lagoons are nothing but saltwater lakes which are separated from the sea by an area of a rock or sand. Major tourist attractions. Kochi is the most important port of the Malabar coast. Now let us see the eastern coastal plains. The eastern coastal plains lie between the Bay of Bengal and the Eastern Ghats. Again, looking at page number 33 of your textbook. Okay, we can see Bay of Bengal. Just it is eastern coastal plains lie between Bay of Bengal in the Eastern Ghats. Okay, very clearly you will be able to see in the map, page number 33 of your textbook. The eastern coastal plains lie between the Bay of Bengal and the Eastern Ghats. They begin from West Bengal and pass through Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Like the western coastal plains, they also end at Kanyakumari. Both are ending at Kanyakumari. Eastern coastal plains as well as western coastal plains. Both end point is same, that is Kanyakumari. These plains are wider than the western coastal. We saw a western coastal plains. It is wider area in Gujarat, but when it moves towards the south, it gets narrower. Here, these plains are wider than western coastal plains. The northern parts of the plains, also known as northern circars, and the southern part is called Coromandel coast. Western coastal plains were divided into three parts, whereas eastern coastal plains are divided into two parts. The northern is the northern circars, and on the south we have the Coromandel coast. The region is very fertile with plenty of water available for growing of crops. Okay, region is very fertile, the land, and because it has plenty of water available for growing rice and sugar cane. Coconut, cotton and jute are also grown here. I repeat, rice and sugar cane are grown in plenty, whereas coconut, cotton and jute, as I told you, coconut trees are found in plenty. Okay, if we talk about jute, jute requires a lot of water. That is why it grows in the eastern coastal plains. The region has only a few good harbors. A region has very few good harbors. Paradip, Visakhapatnam and Chennai are the three largest ports of this coast. I repeat, Paradip, Visakhapatnam and Chennai are the three largest ports of this coast. There is a very big shipbuilding yard in Visakhapatnam. Yard means ships are built over there in Visakhapatnam. The sea on the eastern coast is rougher and the waves are stronger and bigger than those on the western coast. I repeat, The sea on the eastern coast is rougher. Here the sea is very rough. And the waves are also very, very strong and bigger than those we found on the western coast. The climate is hot and humid throughout the year. However, winters are cooler. The northern part of the eastern coastal plains receives rain during the monsoon, but not as much as the western coastal plains do. Western coastal plains receive more rainfall than the eastern coastal plains. In the picture we can see the beach on the Coromandel coast. This is a picture of a beach on the Coromandel coast. Now moving ahead, that is on page number 35 of your textbook. Now did you know Kanyakumari is well known for its beautiful sunrise and sunset. It is also the meeting of the three major water bodies, Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal. All the three meet over there at the southern tip of India, and it is very well known for its beautiful sunrise and sunset, that is Kanyakumari. The southern part of this region is the only region in the country that receives rainfall during the winter. It receives rainfall during winter. Okay, we receive rainfall in monsoon. This part receives rainfall in winter. Now, what is the importance of the coastal plains? We'll study about the importance, and then tomorrow we'll study the later part, that is the islands. Now, talking about the importance of the coastal plains, many ports are found along the coast, and they are important for inland and foreign trade. As I told you, the ships load their and unload their goods at the ports. So all foreign trade takes place, okay, which are transported through ships. So ports are very, very important. Many of the seaside towns are popular holiday and tourist destinations. People go to visit during their leisure time. Now, because it is a sea area, fishing is an important occupation. Occupation means people catch fish for their living. Export of fish is an important industry here. As the land is fertile, a variety of crops such as rice. Now we come to the islands. An island is a piece of land surrounded by water on all the sides. I repeat, an island is a piece of land surrounded by water on all sides. There are two main groups of islands in India. If we talk of India, there are two main groups of islands in India. There are many in the whole world. But if I talk only of India, the one is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal, and the Lakshadweep Islands in the Arabian Sea. If you want to take a look, you can take page 33 of your textbook and see. Below Bay of Bengal, you will see the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and below Arabian Sea, you will see Lakshadweep Islands written over. Okay, so that is the island we are going to study about. Now, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, these are actually over 500 islands divided into two groups. Okay, 500 small islands divided into two groups. They cover an area of over 8,000 square kilometers. Just imagine such a wide area is covered under the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The northern group is called Andaman Islands and the southern group is called Nicobar Islands. And both together we call it as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. But it is divided into two parts. Northern is Andaman and the southern is Nicobar. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are a union territory of India. The capital is Port Blair. All the islands in this group are actually the topmost parts of a submerged mountain range. Now, these islands, that is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the capital is Port Blair and it is a union territory. Okay, we have studied the 29 states. Okay, and this is a union territory, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Capital of Andaman Nicobar Islands is Port Blair. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are covered with forests and only a few of them are inhabited. Okay, inhabited means people are living over there. Okay, even today we see people living in these forests in groups and tribes. These people are known as tribals. Okay, now tribe is nothing but a small group of people who have the same language and customs, who live in a particular area and are often led by a chief. Okay, they are called tribe and the people living over here are called tribals. Indira Point on the Nicobar Islands is the southernmost point of India. I repeat, Indira Point on the Nicobar Islands is the southernmost point of India. If you take out page 35 of your textbook, the picture is given of Indira Point. Okay, picture of Port Blair is also there. Port Blair, the capital of Andaman Nicobar Islands. So, the southernmost point of India, that is Indira Point. The climate here is warm but pleasant. Okay, here also on the screen you can see the picture of Port Blair. Now, if we talk of the climate here is warm but pleasant. Cool sea breeze always blow here. Rice and coconut are the major crops of the region. Okay, rice and coconut are the major crops of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Pulses, fruits and vegetables also grow here. Fishing is an important activity. Okay, where it is a sea area, so fishing is an important activity. Now, if we talk of the other island, that is the Lakshadweep Island. Lakshadweep is the smallest union territory of India. I repeat, Lakshadweep is the smallest union territory of India. Lakshadweep consists of over 30 islands covering an area about 32 square kilometers. In Andaman Nicobar we saw 500 islands divided into two groups and covering an area of 8,000 square kilometers. Here Lakshadweep Islands covering an area of about 32 kilometers. It lies in the Arabian Sea, close to the Malabar coast. We saw that the coastal area, that is the western coastal plains, divided into three parts. In that the southernmost is the Malabar coast. So these Lakshadweep Islands lie in the Arabian Sea, very close to Malabar coast. Only some of the islands are inhabited. Here, all are not inhabited. Very few islands are inhabited. Kavaratti is the capital of Lakshadweep. We saw that Port Blair is capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Here, Kavaratti is the capital of Lakshadweep Islands. These islands are coral islands. Now, let us see what is coral, why these islands are known as coral islands. First of all, what is coral? Coral, a substance that is either red, pink or white in color and that forms on the bottom of the sea from the bones of very small sea creatures. Okay. In the book, page 36, we can see the picture of colorful coral reef formation. Now, what is coral? Coral is nothing but a substance that is either red, pink or white in color and that forms on the bottom of the sea, deep into the sea, in the bottom of the sea. Now, how it is formed? It is formed from the bones of very small sea creatures. We find sea creatures from their very small sea creatures, from those their bones. This is formed, a coral is formed. A coral island is made up of hard body covering produced by tiny sea creatures known as corals. Okay, what are coral? Okay, which are coral islands? Lakshadweep islands are called coral islands. A coral island is made up of the hard body covering. Now, from where it is produced? It is produced by the tiny sea creatures known as corals. The main occupation here also is fishing. Okay, we saw in the Andaman Nicobar also fishing is an important activity here. Along with fishing, tourism and agriculture are also the main industries found here in Lakshadweep Islands. The main crop grown here is coconut, rice, fruits such as bananas and some vegetables are also grown here. Okay, all these things are grown here. Main occupation consists of fisheries, tourism and agriculture. Main crops here are coconut, rice, fruits such as bananas and some vegetables are also grown here. Now, as we have seen the importance of the coastal plains, same way we are going to study about the importance of the islands. Both groups of islands. I repeat, both groups. Which two groups? The Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Lakshadweep Islands. Both group of islands are popular tourist attraction. Means people love to visit these islands. They attract tourists. Though the climate is warm and tropical, it is very pleasant here due to the cool breeze, due to the cool sea breeze that blows here. Okay, so people prefer to visit there to escape from the heat on their other places. To escape and to enjoy their holidays, people prefer to visit the islands. Now, there are certain points that we are going to recall. The points given on page number 36 of your textbook. The coastal plains of India lie on the two sides of the Indian peninsula. Two sides means the western coastal plains on the west and the eastern coastal plains on the east. The western coastal plains are divided into Gujarat, Konkan and Malabar coast. We saw they are divided into three parts, western coastal plains. The topmost is the Gujarat coast. On the southern of the Gujarat we have the Konkan coast, and on the southern of the Konkan we have Malabar coast. Eastern coastal plains are divided into how many parts? Two parts. The northern Sircars and the Coromandel coast. Now, there are two main groups of islands. Which are the two main groups of islands? The Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Lakshadweep Islands. Now, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, there are over 500 islands in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Whereas, there are 30 islands in the Lakshadweep Islands. There are 30 small islands covering the Lakshadweep Islands. You have to read, understand. Now moving ahead with the topic. We are going to cover new words and the exercise is coming on page number 37 in the next video. Okay. This topic of islands is short, but you need to understand it clearly and read it not only twice, maybe thrice. Listen to the video carefully. Okay. I'll be adding a little bit more animated video for your further reference.